President Trump is signing orders today to revitalize the nuclear energy sector. Welcome to Filibusted Headlines. I'm Ryan Howard. Today we got a lot to cover, and we're going to get through it as fast as we can so you are up to date for your day and going into the weekend. So a couple of things we're going to go over, a few things here. So Trump going nuclear, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about RFK Jr.'s report on the nation's poor health and who is to blame for that. We're going to talk about Trump's crypto dinner, and the U.S. House passes Trump's big, beautiful tax bill. We're going to talk about Trump and Harvard going back and forth on their ability to enroll foreign students, and that's really shaking up. And then as of this morning, Trump is threatening the European Union with a 50% tariff. So, wow, lots to get into. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So I mentioned that Trump is signing orders today that will revitalize the nuclear energy sector. And this initiative will streamline the approval process for new reactors and increase the capacity of nuclear fuel in the supply chain. And so this is something that, the U.S. currently relies heavily on foreign imports and to supply the front end of this nuclear fuel. And that's accounts for nearly 99% of that fuel. And so when Trump first entered into office in his second term, he immediately declared a national energy emergency. And so we've talked about that on some other episodes as well, but that allowed for an increase in mining and drilling for coal, for crude oil, for natural gas, and refined petroleum products and uranium. And so that move has really paved the way for an increase in domestic nuclear energy. And so to do that, Trump has invoked the Defense Production Act, and that actually has not been done since the Cold War. And so that was when the U.S. fought against the reliance on China and Russia for enriched uranium. So this is really important. We really need to be paying attention to this. And we can see also after reporting these plans and plans to sign this order, uranium stocks rose. So we shouldn't really be surprised by that. The market's always watching what's happening here. So then we had also Sam Altman and technology. He's a tech entrepreneur, and he's the guy, founder of OpenAI, and he's the executive officer. And so he invested in nuclear energy startup called Oklo, which is a project aimed at advancing nuclear fusion plants that use nuclear waste as fuel. And so AI is a key driving factor for nuclear energy. So going to need lots of energy to drive all the AI run things that we have coming up. So, all right, in our next topic here, this is a big one. RFK Jr. This last night, President Trump and RFK Jr. held a commission. Their commission gave this report on the nation's health, and particularly as it relates to children. And this is really shocking, but maybe not surprising for those of us who have been watching this and already tuned into this and been following RFK Jr. But this report covered the 4 leading drivers of childhood chronic disease. And those are poor diet, which is driven primarily by ultra-processed foods, exposure to chemicals like food additives and pesticides. That's right, food additives. The lack of physical activity and chronic stress, and finally, over-medicalization with too many prescriptions and vaccines. So this is pretty incredible to see this coming. If we have time, I'll have lots of commentary on this at the end of the show here today. But this report has generated a lot of heated debate, and there's a concern from officials that, within the FDA. So this report really points the fingers at the corporate influence in government lobbying, and RFK Jr. has given a harsh review of the state of the nation's health. And he says, quote, "At its core, this report is a call to action for common sense. We've relied too much on conflicted research, ignored common sense, or what some would call the mother's intuition." So I mean, this is critical. So it says the report also suggests that today's children may live shorter lives than their parents, despite U.S. predominance in healthcare spending. President Trump praised the report, calling the MAHA, the Make America Healthy Again movement, hot, and went on to mention chronic health conditions in the U.S. and conditions of U.S. children, and that includes calling out increasing cancer rates, obesity, and autism. You know, one of the things that I thought was really important to bring in here is that this back in 2017, we already knew that 71% of Americans between 17 and 24 are ineligible for U.S. military service. So this is actually a national security risk issue, and they're disqualified for issues like obesity, other health and mental health issues, lack of education, criminal records, those sorts of things. But in case you think that might have went away, in a 2024 and 2025 military recruiting roundtable that they did with the media, that shows that nearly 77%. The data shows that nearly 77% of youth between 17 to 24 are not qualified for military service without some type of waiver. So this is a serious issue. It's a significant issue, and so we need to be keeping our eyes on it. Like I said, we'll have more commentary on that if we've got time at the end here. So next up, we had last night, Trump had a controversial crypto dinner. And so that was with a secret guest list. And so with over 200 wealthy crypto investors, that attended the dinner at President Trump's DC golf course, with the price of attendance being an investment in the Trump's meme coin, Trump meme coin. Over $148 million was spent to secure seats at the dinner, averaging out over $1 million per seat. So quite expensive for that dinner. The top 25 meme coin holders enjoyed a private VIP recognition with President Trump. Despite the grandiose event, the Trump coin only pumped slightly. So during that night, and has since corrected with a modest 4% gain for the week. So Senator Warren, a staunch anti-crypto activist, called the dinner an orgy of corruption. That is insane. But failed to address the conflict of interest in her own big pharma PAC payout. So, yep, we see people here saying, don't look at me, just look at others. More commentary on that if we've got time. The next topic we have here is the House passed the big, beautiful tax bill yesterday. And so we now are waiting to see what the Senate will do. The bill passed the House on it was 214 votes. So 2 Republicans joined Democrats in voting no, and 2 missed the vote that were perhaps sleeping while the vote took place, working late into the night these days, as they should be. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, says they aim to get the bill to the president's desk by July 4th, and says, we are going to celebrate a new golden age in America. A nice buzz phrase that we have here going on today. The Senate Republicans could pass the bill on the party line, but Republicans in the Senate have vowed to change the bill. Even Senator Josh Hawley, who is a good guy, says we'll write our own version of the bill. So the current version of the bill adds funding to military and immigration enforcement, extends Trump's 2017 tax cuts, and gives takes no more taxes on tips and overtime, but that would only be temporary. So very interesting to see that. We're interested to know what you think about that. Let us know in the comments. The bill is currently being paid for mainly by cutting waste and fraud from clean energy production and Medicaid, and adds minimal work requirements as well to Medicaid, and removes non-confirmed citizens. So good stuff moving there. Probably lots of issues with that as well as we dive more into the details to see what's going to be coming out. So our next topic, we have Trump blocking Harvard's ability to enroll foreign students by abolishing their student and exchange visitor program certification. So this is pretty critical. So on Thursday, the federal government said it would block Harvard's ability to enroll foreign students. Since then, Harvard University has threatened to sue the Trump administration over the unprecedented move. They said that blocking foreign students from enrolling violates the university's First Amendment rights. They have accused the Trump administration of a, quote, clear retaliation for Harvard exercising its First Amendment right to control Harvard's governance, curriculum, and ideology of its faculty and students, end quote. The White House has already reasserted its stance and called the university's lawsuit frivolous. It gives me pause here because it is difficult to not give commentary as I go through this. So the Department of Homeland Security spokesperson, Tricia McLaughlin, said that in defense of Trump administration's actions, quote, it is a privilege, not a right, for universities to enroll foreign students and benefit from their higher tuition payments to help pad their multi-billion-dollar endowments, end quote. She also stated, quote, the Trump administration is committed to restoring common sense to our student visa system, end quote. So lots going on here. We also see developing as well that we see another article here that I didn't pop to, but that's what's going on with Harvard. And we also see Trump is currently threatening a 50% European Union tax tariff as trade talks hit a snag. So Trump posted on Truth Social. You can see it here this morning. And well, he says, our discussions with them are going nowhere. Therefore, I am recommending a straight 50% tariff on European Union starting June 1, 2025. So, wow, lots going on here. I breezed right through that. So, hey, that's good news. We got lots of time here for some commentary. So, let's dive back into a few of these. I think this is just, the first one I want to talk about is what's going on with the MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. What's crazy is, I've traveled, God has blessed me to travel all over the world, and I can look at the packages we see of the what you buy to eat there. And you see packages in different countries that have 2 or 3 or 4 ingredients. And in the US, you see the same product that has 50 ingredients. Or you might see something that says you can't pronounce it. If you can't pronounce it, it's not probably something you should put in your body. And so it's interesting to see the differences. And why is it different from country to country with the same product? Well, we see that just like was said in this article here from RFK Jr. in this report, that the big companies are pushing, and that's what the companies want, and that's the lobbyists, and that's the sold out, the compromised agencies that we have, the FDA and all of that. And so it's pretty crazy when you see what's actually in the food and what this is causing. I mean, the body doesn't recognize certain things, and so it actually causes molecules to break apart. And if you hear the term free radicals, that is literally a molecule being broken apart and going through like little knives through the body. And that's what free radicals are. And then that's how we have chronic issues and things getting in the bloodstream that shouldn't be there and crossing the blood-brain barrier and all that. And so this can be very complicated. My wife actually put together an ebook and an educational email course at joinlifesimple.com if you want to get started on that. But just a little shameless plug there for that. But diet, nutrition, chemical, it's hard to see that this isn't designed. It's a system where people, you eat poorly, don't exercise, just keep looking at the screen, and then keep doing that, and then go take the medication that just masks the symptoms. So it's a nice system, corrupt system that they have put together there, but we need to get rid of that. We need to be going the right direction, but I wouldn't wait for the government to do that. You need to do that for yourself. Get educated and make sure that you're paying attention to what you're really putting into your body. So, boy, there's a few others here. This tax bill, we've got what's going on with Harvard. I know, like, especially graduate degrees, there's a lot of students, international students, and there's a lot of value that these students bring. I did my MBA, and there was 10 different countries that were present there, represented from different students in this cohort that I was in. And it was highly valuable to my education to be able to have access and perspective from this huge diverse group of students. And I mean diverse and actually diverse. They weren't different colors of people. It was actually different backgrounds and different ways of thinking and different industries and just all kinds of actual real diversity. And that was highly valuable. And so there's an aspect for the students that's there. But I will say this, that cannot be done if you're compromising national security. And so we have a significant, we've seen examples of things being exposed, people being exposed, or professors being exposed for giving data and information to China, for example, and these other countries. They're just absolutely compromised. And they've had, if universities get endowments or if they get donations from certain above a certain number from a foreign country, they have to disclose that. And we've seen universities that have not disclosed that. They've actually hidden it. And so, yeah, there should be a crackdown on this, and it needs to be a reset. And it's not this is not a First Amendment issue. This is a national security issue. And so I think it's interesting that Harvard, we know what happened in the last few years at Harvard with their diversity hires and all that. And what we see that they're actually pointing to this, their ideology and their First Amendment rights and that sort of thing. And so we see them violating the First Amendment rights of their students, but apparently they think they should have some special rights. So, well, there's a lot more to talk about here, but, I want to invite you to make sure you're subscribed and make sure you comment below. What did we not talk about that you thought we would have talked about, or what's your take on what we're talking about? Well, I hope you enjoyed this. I want to invite you we're going to have some other episodes coming out this weekend, and we will be back live next Monday at 9:30 Central. So thank you for joining. This has been Filibusted Live, and I'm Ryan Howard. God bless, and we'll see you next time.